Welcome into Instant Reaction, an Indianapolis Colts podcast. I'm Casey Vallier, joined by Ring of Honor wide receiver Bill Brooks. Bill, the Colts get yet another home victory. They defeat the Arizona Cardinals 31-27. They improved to 5-1. It's the fifth time this year they've scored at least 29 points. It's one of those where today they did something a little different. Yeah. It wasn't a blowout. It was back and forth. And the Colts proved today that they can hang in those games and get a victory on those one scores.
Yeah, I mean, it's a close game. You know, there's going to be different type of games throughout the National Football League. You know, last week was a blowout. This week it was tight. They had a game against Denver that was tight.
Yeah.
So there are going to be different type of games in the National Football League. It's great if you can win each and every way possible in the National Football League because, you're going to need all the guys, and it's going to take the defense one game, maybe an offense another game, special teams another game, but everyone has to contribute out there. And the Colts did that today, and they got the win, and it's a big win that at home to back up the win from last week.
Right.
And to piggyback off that and get a win this week was big for the Colts.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the protecting home field is always something that is, essentially preached. Whether it's, from the top all the way down. You want to win your home games, and that's what the Colts have done a really good job of this year. Another home victory. I think it's their sixth home victory in a row if you go back to last year. So they're doing what they're supposed to do inside Lucas Oil Stadium. I mentioned it improves them down to 5-1. They sit all by themselves atop the AFC South that the Jacksonville Jaguars lost. So 5-1, you head out to L.A. next week to take on the Chargers. But we're going to break down this game here against the Arizona Cardinals. Another good victory for the Colts because every victory is a good victory. And we typically kind of highlight it in points.
Yep.
And I think it's only fitting we start with Daniel Jones. Another impressive performance out of DJ. Indiana Jones, whatever you want to call him, completing 73% of his passes again.
Yep.
He did have the one interception, but he threw 2 touchdown passes, ran one in. I mean, he just continues to impress. I mean, we talked about this last week, and I feel like the week before and the week before that at some point we're going to start off this not talking about Daniel Jones, but he just continues to be so steady and consistent with his play. It's hard not to just lead off by talking about, yet again, Daniel Jones did everything that he needed to do to keep the offense in check and moving the football down the field.
I know, just steady. Steady Eddie. I mean, that's what you want from Daniel Jones. He's been that thus far this season. Yes, the one throw I'm sure he wished he had back that he threw to trying to throw to Miley Cox, and the guy made a great play.
He did,
and picking it off. But other than that, I mean, you got the ball to 7 different guys.
Yes.
Drop passes today, and that's what you want to do, spread the ball around. And from an offensive standpoint, that's what you want. You want to spread the ball around because it keeps the defense off balance, and it keeps your guys attuned into the game because they're going to be part of the game some way, somehow in the game. Tyler Warren gets some plays, and Josh Downs gets some plays, and get Pittman gets some plays, and you have other guys like Pierce got some plays, JT gets some plays as far as throwing the ball to him, and Daniel Jones is just doing what they ask of him. Put the ball in the playmakers' hands, let them make plays, and put the team in good positions to be successful on plays. Plays that are called that might not look that great at first, he can check out of it, put the guys in a good position to make plays, check out change some blocking schemes up front if it doesn't look like that blocking scheme is going to work for that play. And he's doing all the right things, and that comes from him preparing during the week and putting in the time and understanding, okay, this is what the coaches are trying to do. This is what the opponents are trying to do against us, but this will work against that defense, or this will work against that coverage over there. So he's doing a nice job keeping everyone involved, keeping everyone happy, so to speak.
Right.
Everyone getting the ball and being a part of it, and that's what you want from a quarterback, someone that's a leader on the team, and he's doing a great job of it thus far.
So you brought me to a point that I was going to bring up after I talked about Jonathan Taylor, but we'll just flip it.
Okay.
Nobody knows the rundown. It's me. I know the rundown.
You know it. Yes.
I know it, so don't act like, whatever. But you bring up a really good point when you talk about spreading the football around.
Yeah.
So today we saw both Tyler Warren and Josh Downs lead the team with 6 catches each. They both had a touchdown. But 7 total players caught a pass today. Multiple guys had multiple receptions. It makes it so incredibly difficult for the defense because, one thing that I have started to notice about this team is week in, week out, you almost don't know who's going to be the guy. You know, I mean, we've seen Pitt have a couple games. Warren's been pretty steady. He has been, 4 to 6 catches for about 45 to 70 yards, it seems like, every week. So he has been essentially that every single week. But outside of that, like you saw Pierce have some flashes today. I think Josh Downs had arguably his best game of the year.
Very good game
and if you look at it, it's 6 catches for 42 yards and a touchdown. But it's when those catches come, where those yards are coming. Bill, you played the position at such a high level. Talk about how important it is to have a guy like Josh Downs because, yeah, it's not 6 catches for 120 yards and a touchdown. It's 6 catches for 42 yards, but it's on third downs.
Yes.
And it's just so important what he is able to do. And that touchdown catch, he knew he was going to take a pop.
And he took one, too.
He took one. He stayed in, caught the ball, able to get a touchdown. I mean, Josh Downs is like the unsung hero for this Colts offense.
And teams need guys like Josh Downs.
Yeah.
A guy that is very durable. I mean, you look at the hit he took and got back up, so he's durable. But he's also a guy that understands defenses. When he's running out there, he knows his zone or man. He knows where the holes are. He knows where to throw down in the zone, so he won't run through the zone and get popped, So he's a guy that can beat man-to-man coverage. He's fast enough. He's quick enough. And you need guys like that willing to go over the middle, make those tough catches, and be the guy out there. So he's doing a nice job of making sure, the Colts stay on track in regards to getting those first downs on third down so they keep on moving the ball down the field and making those big plays. I remember a play last week where he caught the ball short of the sticks and 2 guys were about to converge on him.
Yeah.
He made one guy miss, spinned around another guy, and got a first down.
I want to say it was like a 3rd and 12.
Yeah.
And he got 13.
Yes, and those are big plays because that keeps the drive alive, gives you an opportunity to score a touchdown, move the ball downfield. And it's great that, that Daniel Jones can depend on him and know that, okay, this guy's going to be in the right spot at the right time. He's going to catch the ball. He's going to run the right route. He's going to be open. And it gives the quarterback some sense of security knowing that, hey, this guy's going to be where he's supposed to be. And Josh Downs is doing a nice job. And he's actually done it from the day he got here.
Right.
First, when he got here as a rookie, been doing it ever since. And it's great to see that, that Daniel Jones is getting him the ball, but he's also spreading the ball around, as you said, Casey. And I think that's such a big thing. It keeps the players happy, and it keeps the players in tune, knowing that, hey, I might get the ball. You never know what's going to happen. And a lot of times during a week of practice, it might be the way the game plan is situated. One receiver might be getting a lot of balls, but you never know what's going to happen in the game.
Yeah.
And I had a coach that always tell me, everybody running, everybody alert, because you never know what's going to happen where, that first read might be taken away or that second read might be taken away. But that third read, you make sure that you're running out hard to get open because if you're not and you're lollygagging, the ball might come and hit you in the back of the head. So make sure you run your route to win no matter if you're the first, the second, or your third option for the quarterback.
And, you talk about the progression. And we have seen Daniel Jones. It's been impressive that he knows at times, okay, first option's not there, second option's not there. The pass rush is getting to me. I got to stay in and make and deliver. And I thought we saw that a lot today, where there were a handful of plays where clearly the first, second option were not available. He stuck in, took a hit, but was still able to deliver a pass. It's been very impressive what he's been able to do.
I couldn't play quarterback. I just couldn't play quarterback back there. He stood in sometimes and he's taking a hit, but he delivered the ball to the receiver and they got the ball, but he stood in there to the last possible second and took a hit. So I'm sure he'll be sore. But you know what? That's what good quarterbacks do. They stay in there and take it on the chin for the team and get the ball out there to the guys so they can get a first down so he can make another play and keep the drive alive.
Now, one guy who I mentioned we talk about Jonathan Taylor, so might as well go ahead and throw him into this because here we go again. 123 yards and a touchdown. It's his third 100-yard game of the season. He now has 7 touchdowns on the ground. And one of the guys in the locker room who has seen Jonathan Taylor grow up in this league is Zaire Franklin. And Zaire Franklin said today inside the Colts locker room, this is the best that Jonathan Taylor has ever looked. And, it's been impressive because at this point in the year, listen to these numbers, Bill. He has 603 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns on the ground. And we have seen him be a lot more effective in the passing game
Yes.
this year as well.
Mm-hmm.
But just from a rushing standpoint, he's on pace to have over 1,700, almost 1,800 yards, and he could have 18 touchdowns.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, Zaire Franklin's not wrong. This is a guy who we saw rush for over almost 2,000 yards a handful of years ago, and we were like, man, can he ever do that again? I don't want to say that even if he doesn't do that, what he is doing collectively this year, it is really easy to say that this might be the best start of Jonathan Taylor's career.
He's having an impressive start to this season right now in the 2025 year. Just the way he's running, how hard he's running, and what he's doing, and being so effective out there on the football field, running the ball. And you know what? There's plays where he was like, oh man, he's going to take a 2-yard loss. It's a 5-yard gain.
Yeah.
He keeps on pushing the pile, keeps his legs moving, and he's making positive yards. And you're like, he should have been stopped behind the line of scrimmage. And that's to me is very impressive. He's turning some negative plays into positive plays, and that's keeping them on track, keeping them on schedule to hopefully make a first down, and that's very important. But give the offensive line credit; they're doing a nice job, also making some holes for Jonathan Taylor. But Jonathan Taylor not only is doing a nice job running the ball, hitting the holes, and pushing the pile, but he's doing a good job catching the ball in the backfield.
He really is.
I mean, he really is catching the ball in the backfield and being available to Daniel Jones when Daniel Jones needs him. And that is a good feeling for a quarterback, knowing that, hey, you know what? If all the guys down the field are covered or I don't see anyone open, I could dump it off to JT. That's not a bad option.
No,
if
no.
JT gets the ball in the open
Give him
field
some space. Oh,
and
boy.
what he can do with the ball and make some people miss. So JT is having a good year. And another thing about JT is JT does a good job in the offseason of staying in shape, keeping his body in shape, getting ready for the season, knowing it's going to be a long season, and being prepared for the rigors of the season, the ups and downs, the bumps and the bruises that he's going to get, and being fresh for each and every game. So give the young man credit for what he's doing. He's doing an exceptional job this year, running the ball and catching the ball out of the backfield.
Well, a couple things on that. You talk about preparing himself. One of the things that he always preaches is the prehab.
Yep.
And that is something that he has always taken to be one of the most important things that you do, because you have to rehab your injuries.
Yep.
But he is always making sure that he is getting out ahead of those things, making sure that his body can do this.
Yes.
Can go out there and play 60 snaps and be okay with it.
Right.
And that's part of what goes into the grind and what makes him so valuable. And you talk about what he's doing in the passing game. The last handful of years, we have seen essentially the Colts needed that third down back.
Yep.
When, we can go back to the Tyler Goodson, Gardner Minshew play.
Yep.
Ultimately, what it was is you needed a reliable guy out there that was, and he has turned into that.
Yes.
That is something that Jonathan Taylor he's heard the critics, and he has said, you know what, I'm going to improve on this. I want to be a guy that doesn't ever have to come off the football field, and that is exactly what he has done. We've seen it not only just with his hands in the passing game, but his pass protection has grown immensely, and it's so awesome to see from a guy who is already elite.
Yep.
You know what he can do running the football. He is still one of the best running backs in all of football. When he can make his game even more impactful and make it more well-rounded for the team, it's really starting to pay dividends, and you're really starting to understand what this offense can be with this type of Jonathan Taylor. And ultimately, what they're doing right now, I don't see them slowing down at any point.
Yeah, and those elite players, they always work on things that they think they need to get better at.
Yeah.
If it's during the offseason or whatever. And we've seen during training camp, Jonathan Taylor working on the side, catching the football.
Right.
With his coaches, other players, he's working on catching the football, just catching the ball. And the best thing to do to help you catch the ball is catch the ball.
Yeah, right.
Really,
right.
Work on catching the ball.
That's exactly right.
You cannot catch too many footballs to improve your catching ability of catching the football. I was always told, someone said, how many footballs should you need to catch to improve your catching ability out there in the football field? Someone said 1,000 catches. He said, nope, it's not enough. He said, you just got to keep on catching.
Keep doing it.
Keep on doing it. There's no number. You just got to keep on doing it. And when you do it, it becomes second nature to you. And Jonathan Taylor, he has improved on that, and it shows by the work he has done during the offseason and during training camp that he has worked on catching the football, and you see it out there in the football field now.
Now, one area I want to move to is the defense. I think if you were to talk to the defensive players inside that locker room, this is a game that they would all say, yeah, well, let's do this one over. There were a handful of areas they'd really want to improve on. If you look at it from just a total yardage standpoint, the Cardinals had 400 yards of total offense. Coming into today's game, they were averaging 288.4 yards of total offense, which was 26th in the NFL. And they did that with a backup quarterback in Jacoby Brissett. Now, not a stab at Jacoby. We have seen what Jacoby Brissett can do. He deserves all the credit that he should get after the play he played today.
Exactly.
He did not look like a backup quarterback.
No,
he's a veteran. He's a cerebral guy. He knows what he's doing out there. So not at all surprised at what Jacoby Brissett was able to do, because we have seen what Jacoby can do in this league. But when you see a backup quarterback, you also lose essentially your top wide receiver threat in Marvin Harrison Jr. early in the game. You really would have liked to seen the defense bow up and not allow that many yardage. But the caveat to that here, Bill, is 3 of 6 inside the red zone. Mm-hmm. So once again, you're able to limit the amount of touchdowns scored on you. And, the Cardinals have the ball, a chance to win down the stretch. Defense needs to make a stop, and the defense made a stop. So it's one of those lessons that you're always grateful for a win, and especially you're grateful for a win when you don't play your best and you know you've got stuff you can work on. And the defense, I'm sure this week there's a handful of things they really want to target on what to improve on as they head into next week against the Chargers.
Exactly. The bottom line is you got the win.
Right.
You got the win, and that's the main thing.
And no one's going to apologize for it.
No one's going to apologize for winning
Absolutely.
football games in the National Football League. But there's things they need to get better at. And, one of them we've talked about is third down. The defensively on third down, they gave up 64% conversion on third down. That's a lot.
And some of them were third and longs.
Third and 15,
yes.
I think, once, and one third and 17 or third and 13, something like that. But they give us some third downs that they know they need to get better on. Hopefully, they need to get off the field and get the ball back to the offense. But those are some of the things that they need to work on. And giving up 400 yards, like I said, not taking anything away from Jacoby. He's a veteran quarterback. He's smart. He took what the defense was giving him, and he was very good. And Trey McBride. McBride had a good day.
He did.
He played well, and
he's a really good player.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He is a really good player.
Yeah.
He's a little chirpy. I didn't realize how chirpy he was.
He was really chirping out there a lot today. But he's a good player. And, he made some good plays, like pretty much on that one touchdown on Nick Cross. I know Nick Cross took his eyes in the backfield and got him off of McBride, and that's how McBride got open on there in the end zone and scored on that touchdown pass from Jacoby Brissett. But the defense needs to work on some things. They need to hopefully get better, especially on third down, and do a better job. But I think they will. I know Zaire Franklin and the rest of the defensive guys have pride in what they do and how they play the game. And to me, that's the most important thing, is how you play the game, how you go out there and play. And if they could take care of how they play the game, those results will happen. If you go out there and just execute your game plan and take care of the game how you want to take care of it in regards to how you play, how you make plays, and everything else will take care of itself. You'll keep the yardage down from how many yards the team can get on you. You'll do better on third down. You'll do better in the red zone. All those things will take care of themselves if you play the game and execute the game plan. And that's something they're going to, I'm sure, go back to drawing board and try to get better at next week.
Now, final couple things here before we wrap up. I want to talk about the new guys making an impact. I think Michael Badgley stepped in at the kicker position, was asked to kick one field goal, knocked it straight through the uprights, was 4 for 4 on his PATs, so Michael Badgley was perfect in his kicking opportunities today. And then Jermaine Pratt, the linebacker, he stepped in off, I'm not going to say off the street because he was released by the Raiders on Monday, essentially signed on Tuesday. So we'll say he was a day on the street, but ultimately, But anyway, so Jermaine Pratt comes in, leads the team with 11 tackles. So I think both the guys, you knew they were going to make an instant impact, especially with Michael Badgley, because you were going to have a guy kicking. So that we knew was going to be an instant impact. But we saw Joe Bacci get placed on IR. Jermaine Pratt is signed. He has the familiarity with Lou Anarumo, and he stepped right in and didn't miss a beat inside this defense.
No, he stepped in and had 11 tackles, as you mentioned. And, that I think that's very impressive. Someone come in from another system, and
Right.
he has played in Lou's system, so he understands the lingo and the language and things like that and what it means. But just to come in and really just get a week of practice with the guys and be out there, that's pretty impressive for the man to go out there and get 11 tackles, lead the team in tackles out there. So kudos to Jermaine Pratt out there in Badger. I mean, did a nice job. And the good thing is he was familiar with the operation with Rodrigo and Rhodes. So that helps a lot. I mean, when you have some guys that you're familiar with and you're familiar with the operation and how they go about their operation, the snapping of the ball, the holding of the ball. So he really didn't have to worry a lot about that, and they didn't have to really do a lot. I'm sure they had to get, know each other, be familiar with what they do and how they do it. So, but there was, I'm sure it was like second nature to him. He got back to it there and, made the extra points, and that's big, and doesn't change how Shane has to call the game or anything like that, and made his opportunity when he hit the field goal. So that was a plus, and hopefully that will continue. I look forward to get even better moving forward, and him having other chances to kick field goals and more field goals. And I mean, for Pratt, I'm assuming it's going to get better, keep on getting better as well. I mean, he's back here. He probably feels a little bit more comfortable playing with the guys now. I mean, he only had a week with the guys, so the longer he practices with the guys, the more comfortable he'll feel, and I'm sure he'll be fine.
So then final here, what we're going to talk about is something that, honestly, I don't think I've ever seen before, but the Colts had two players before the game started get hurt in warm-ups. We saw Anthony Richardson, according to Shane Steichen, I want to make sure I get this correct, he suffered an orbital fracture during the band stretching warm-up, so he had to go straight to the hospital, and he was released shortly after the game. But Anthony Richardson, before, in pregame, suffered very traumatic eye injury. Yes. So then Riley Leonard had to be kind of thrust into that backup quarterback position for today. And then also we saw Charvarius Ward had a collision with, I think it was Drew Ogletree, and it resulted in him having a concussion. So for both players, I mean, you especially, with Richardson, you really hope for a safe and speedy recovery. I don't know what the recovery to a fractured orbital bone is. That seems very severe, so our thoughts and prayers are with Anthony and hope he gets a speedy recovery. I'm sure we'll learn more as the week goes on. But then with Charvarius Ward, your starting corner, this is now the second concussion he has had this season. So you really start to, make sure that he's in a good spot mentally, because that's some scary stuff when you start talking about concussions, especially in a short time frame. So definitely something we're going to have to keep our eye on moving forward, especially into the Chargers and down the road for the season.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you talk about Anthony. I mean, that's an unfortunate injury. It's a malfunction of the band.
It's
or
wild.
Stretching, what he was doing of the apparatus that he was using. And that's unfortunate. And just the sound of a fracture of an orbital bone. To me, that hurts.
It hurts. It hurts me. Yeah, I'm with you.
So, like you said, our prayers are with Anthony. Hopefully, he has a speedy recovery and he's doing okay, and he's all right, not just physically but also mentally as well. I'm sure that can take a toll on an individual being, having an injury and really not doing anything out there in the football field. So I'm hoping he's okay. And then Charvarius Ward with concussion, and the thing about concussions, each person handles them differently.
Yeah.
So
and each concussion is different itself too.
Exactly. So you don't know exactly, what's going to happen in the days and the weeks to come. So hopefully he's okay, and he bounces back and everything's okay with him. But it was kind of unusual injuries, as far as the pregame and things happening like that. And give the coaches credit for having the guys to step in and getting them ready to go. And being able to play out there. So it's especially from a defensive back standpoint, those guys getting ready to play and playing the game, and you just never know. And then they have to go in adjustments, the coaches, as far as how they call the game,
right?
Who's in at this certain time, who's in at this position. So give the coaches credit for making adjustments and getting guys in there and having them ready to play. And I know Jerome Henderson is from a teammate of mine, so I'm sure he had the guys ready to play as far as defensive backs, and I'm happy to see that those guys did the job they need to do to get the win. So kudos to them, and hopefully moving forward we can curtail some of these injuries. Especially the defensive back.
Yes,
they've had a lot of injuries of lately, and hopefully guys will start healing up and Don't know when or whenever, but hopefully Kenny gets back soon.
Yep.
Kenny Moore, so hopefully he'll be back soon and get him back, and you know what, that will help some and get some of these other guys that are injured back on the field and go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you talk about Kenny Moore. We talk about, Travarius Ward with concussion, but Jalen Jones is also a guy who would be eligible to return off IR once his hamstring is at that point. Yeah, so that is an area that has been decimated by injuries. You talk about what you dealt with Justin Wally, the draft pick that you were hoping, had high hopes for, and now so ultimately, it has been a concern when it comes to the injury department. You really hope you can get that shirt up, and also you hope you don't have any more pre-game injuries. That's something I've never heard of, but I guess once every blue moon something happens. So you're really hoping that the Colts can get a clean bill of health as we head into next Sunday against the Los Angeles Chargers. I almost called them the San Diego Chargers, but the Los Angeles
That's
Chargers.
My time. That's my time.
Well, I mean, I consider it my time, Bill. I'll stick with it as being my time as well too. But like I said, it's still a victory at home, whether it's ugly, it don't matter. It's a win. The Colts win 31-27. They improved to 5-1. I mentioned at the top, Jacksonville fell.
Yep.
So the Colts sit atop themselves all alone in the AFC South at 5-1, and they're still atop the AFC Conference at 5-1 as well. And they will travel next Sunday to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. Chargers got a victory today. They're 4-2, so it's going to be a really tough test to see what happens between the Colts and the Chargers. But for Bill Brooks, I'm Casey Vallier. Thank you so much for tuning in on Instant Reaction.